2, and 1. Hello, good morning. Well, it's good morning here. It may be the evening for you, but we are starting our next class. I hope you've done some classes already because this is a progression on from last week, and we're ready to get going. And I've got Aditi with us this morning. Hello, welcome to Aditi. This is her first class with us actually in the studio. And we've got Kirsten, who you've seen before, and Fiona. Fiona might have to lean over and wave a little bit, but we can't see her fully. That's it. So we've got the three of them in the class today, and I hope you're joining in with us. Make sure you've got some water and you're in comfortable clothing. The temperature has dropped where we are, so we're kind of putting on warm clothes and able to take them off. What's really important from that though is you will get warm, and it's really important that you are well ventilated all the way through, particularly in this early part of your pregnancy, because you will heat up quite a bit. So make sure you've got layers you can take off and put on if you need to. Okay, so we're going to start, and we're going to start with breathing, because that's really the start of everything, is to work with your breath. Our breath is absolutely connected to our core connection, our pelvic floor connection. We know that the core muscles are so important. You have now a masterclass which is all about the pelvic floor. It's about 15-16 minutes long. I would urge you to make sure that you watch that, you go through that, and once you've watched it once, you don't have to then watch it again. It's in its entirety, but you do need to do those pelvic floor exercises whenever, however, as many times as you can, because we need to make sure that the pelvic floor is nice and strong. Okay, so we're going to start with the breath. Just put your hands onto your rib cage, and as you put your hands onto your rib cage, it can make your shoulders come up. So I just want you to just draw the shoulder blades back and down, and then take a nice big deep breath. Inhale for me, and just feel your rib cage expand. Then as you exhale, feel your rib cage come down, and you get that kind of sinking feeling as your rib cage comes down. And do that for me again. So you inhale, feel the rib cage expand, and then exhale and feel your rib cage come down, and just kind of relax, and you can kind of massage your rib cage a little bit. I don't know if anyone's felt a little bit uncomfortable in their ribs at all, but it is nice to kind of soften them and just give them a bit of love and attention, because your rib cage does tend to come out a lot more in pregnancy. And you might be starting to notice that now. I'm just going to do a check with the girls actually as to what week they're in right now. So Fee's 17. Kirsten's 18, Aditi is 15. So that expansion can start to happen right now. So let's kind of release those ribs by trying to breathe out and get the diaphragm to come in. Now, if you keep breathing for me, so continue to take some breaths, and if you've watched that pelvic floor video, you'll know that when you breathe, you inhale, the pelvic floor and the diaphragm expands, and as you exhale, the pelvic floor and the diaphragm come up. So that's the action. So as you exhale, the rib cage comes in, the diaphragm comes up inside you, the pelvic floor comes up inside you. So we're going to focus on that now. So again, take a nice big deep breath for me. Inhale. As you exhale, feel your diaphragm come in, but now I want you to connect to that pelvic floor lift. To connect to the pelvic floor, you stop a fart from the back, you stop a wee from the front, you pull those two sensations together and up inside you. We'll do that one more time. You can take your hands down by your side now, because that will help you to relax your shoulders. So take another breath, inhale, and then as you exhale, think of stopping from the back passage, stopping from the front, draw those two feelings together and up inside you. And if we put our hands onto your tummy now, or just underneath your bump, do that again. Take a breath, inhale, and then exhale, and then stop from the back passage, stop from the front, pull those two feelings together and up inside you. Now, can everyone feel that and feel what happens to your tummy when you do that? Is your tummy coming in? Yeah, brilliant. So try that one more time. I want you to feel your tummy coming in as you connect your pelvic floor. So do that again. Inhale, exhale, and then lift up from the back passage to the front. Draw those two feelings together and up inside you. So stop from the front, stop from the back, draw in, and you should feel this drawing in across your belly at the same time. So that's your deep abdominal muscle working with your pelvic floor to support you. That's so important for your back strength. Now, when you pull up through your pelvic floor, particularly from the back of the pelvic floor, it helps to drop the tailbone down. And I'm just going to turn to the side because I want you to see what happens to my back when I connect to my pelvic floor. So let's do it again. Take a breath. Inhale. Exhale, and as you exhale, lift up through your pelvic floor, and it's very, very subtle, but as you pull up from the back of the pelvic floor, it helps to drop your tailbone down and get rid of any extension that's just a little bit too much and creates this overextension in the back. So the connecting to your pelvic floor helps to put you in a good postural line through your lower back. We now want to make sure that the upper back and the head is in the right position as well. So we're going to do this one more time, but as we do it, you're going to lift up through the pelvic floor, and I want you to be conscious of drawing the shoulders down, and as we have in other weeks, bringing the chin in as well. And when you bring your chin in, I'm going to turn to the side again, it's ever so subtle. You're bringing your chin in, but you're not looking down. It's as if you're bringing your chin back, your eye level looks straight out, and I've said this before, imagine an egg in a spoon, and it's rocking in a spoon, and you're ever so subtly bringing your head back in the spoon. You're bringing the egg back in the spoon. So we'll try that, bringing in the shoulders and the head with the pelvic floor and the breathing. So inhale, exhale, relax. Pull up through the back of the pelvic floor into the front, in together, up inside, draw the shoulders down, rock your egg in the spoon, bring your chin back in. Is everybody okay with that? Okay, so now we're going to challenge ourselves in another balanced position. Before we do that, we're going to connect to the core of the foot, and this is so important in pregnancy, to connect to the core muscles of the foot. Your feet expand during pregnancy. The joints in the feet will start to expand and move around, and we'll go into this in a lot more detail when you will get to around 21 weeks. But for now, you just need to know you need to connect to the core of your feet. So press through the inside of the ball of your foot. Make sure that you are connecting through the inside of the ball of the foot. You have a point in line with your big toe, a point in line with your little toe, and then also a point on your heel. And you're trying to pull through those 3 points, gathering them in as if you're gathering your mat up and underneath your feet and drawing the arch of the foot up. So take another breath for me. Inhale. Exhale, relax. Press through the inside of the ball of the foot. Draw those 3 points in as if you're gathering your mat up and feeling the arch of your foot come up. Now your toes will come in a little bit, but I don't want them to scrunch up completely. The inside of the ball of your foot should stay onto the floor. So we're going to do that again. Press through the inside of the ball of the foot. Take a breath. Inhale. Exhale. Draw up through the core of the foot. Pull up through the pelvic floor into the front, and then draw the shoulders down and bring your chin in. And there's so much to think about. I think we all need to relax now, and we're going to do our rocking the baby. So this is our rocking the baby move. I'm going to come forward a little bit. So Aditi, this is the first time you've done it, so you're just going to turn your knees in for me. Perfect. Okay, now what this does is help to release any tension in the body. Allow your arms to just move side to side and just turning your foot in as you're doing this, and then just allow the shoulder blades to come down and just relax as you're doing it, but still try to be conscious of your core. Now, I talked about temperature earlier. We've had the heating on here because it's quite cold, and I'm just going to change the temperature now. So just keep doing your rocking the baby with the girls, and just keep moving. We're starting to get quite warm in here now, which is good. Okay, so now we're going to go back into working through our core. So take your feet back into hip distance apart position. And as we go through the core muscles, if you only get one of these things, that's absolutely fine. If this is all a bit confusing, don't worry. Just remember, the more times you do this, the more you'll get used to it, and the more it will become natural to you. So just make sure you're doing your videos at least twice, if not 3 times a week. So take a breath for me. Inhale. Exhale, relax. Pull up through the core of the foot, draw up from the back of the pelvic floor into the front, draw your shoulders down, bring your chin in. And now they want you to come up onto your toes. So you're going to challenge your balance. Can you hold that? Now hold, and then again reconnect your pelvic floor. Lift up through the back of the pelvic floor into the front, work the shoulders down, bring your chin in, and then relax and come back down. We're going to bring the hands down by the side and do what we call an arm float. So take a breath, inhale. Exhale, lift up through the pelvic floor from the back to the front, draw up through the core of the feet, but now you're going to come up onto your toes and bring the arms up. Now as the arms come up, you're going to draw your shoulder blades down. If we can have a side view on that, please. Bring that chin in, imagine that egg in the spoon, and draw the shoulder blades down. And then inhale, lower down, and then exhale, come back up onto your toes. Now, can you feel the difference when you connect your core? So pull up from the back to the front of the pelvic floor. Stop a fart, stop a wee, draw your belly in, and you'll feel more stable. Yep, and then release and come down. There's one other muscle group that we can use, though, to help us feel more stable when we're on our toes, and that's your glutes, your buttocks. So do this for me one more time. Take a breath. Inhale, exhale, lift up through from the back to the front of the pelvic floor. Come up onto your toes. Now just click your heels in. Think of Dorothy clicking her heels. Click your heels in and squeeze your buttocks just a little bit, and it will make you more stable. Do you feel that? It's ever so subtle, and then release and come back down. Let's do that one more time. Take a breath. Inhale, exhale, lift up through the pelvic floor. Stop a fart, stop a wee. Come up onto your toes, click your heels in, and then feel your buttocks squeeze. And it just giving you that bit of support from the back, using your buttocks. Go back to your pelvic floor and that lifting your belly. Stop a fart, stop a wee, pull your belly in, and then release and come down. And let's go back into our rocking the baby. So again, let's just move side to side. Everybody okay so far? Yes? Good, good, good. Okay, so we're challenging ourselves by coming up onto our toes and having to think of those core muscles, thinking about our postural positions. If you are working on those 4 points, which are the core of the feet, the core of the pelvis, the breathing, and the head and the shoulder positioning, that's 5, not 4, then you will start to get better and better with your posture. So don't worry about it. As long as you're getting one of those things for now, that's the most important thing. As I said before, the more you do this, the more it will become natural to you. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do some what we call foot pedals. So pick your right heel off the floor and then switch from left to right. So when we pick our right foot up, you're picking yours up because you're looking at us in a mirror reflection. Okay, so if I put my right hand up, that's your right hand as well. So if you can see my head or part of my hand not in the mirror, you know you're following as if you're following from behind us in the class. So that's all good. Yep, hope that makes sense. So now what I want you to do is pick your right foot all the way up off the floor. So before you do that, draw up through the arch of your left foot. So you're using the core of your left foot. Scoop up from the back of the pelvic floor into the front and peel your right foot off the floor. Now rotate the ankle. And that's really important because you need to keep those ankles moving, keep the circulation going. So go both ways, okay? Now just change feet. So do a little foot pedal, change, lift the left foot off the floor, engage the core of your right foot and peel your left foot off the floor and circle your ankle around. Okay, so just a couple of times each way. Lift up through your pelvic floor and into your belly. Make sure you're using those core muscles. Feel yourself grow as you do that. Really important. Okay, place the foot back down, rise and fall through the feet. Draw up through the arch of the left foot, peel the right foot off the floor, but we're going to take it to another step now. Okay, so now we're going to take the right foot back behind us. Put your hands underneath your bump and just take your leg back behind you. Now you can keep your foot on the floor if you're struggling with your balance. So you can keep your foot down. What's really important is that you now engage your core. So again, stop a fart, stop a wee, lift up through the back of the pelvic floor and into your belly, feel your tummy coming in. If we can have a side view, please, because when you're doing this, the temptation is to let your back go banana shaped and arch your back. Yeah? So you've got to lift in through your core, but also squeeze the buttock on the right leg. So you're using glute control, buttock control, and core control, belly control to help keep you in a nice alignment. Take the opposite hand up and reach up towards the ceiling. Now give me another big breath and go through those core points again. Inhale. Exhale, draw the shoulder blades down, draw up through the core of your left foot, pull up through the back of the pelvic floor into your belly. Think about that egg in the spoon, bring your chin in, and then release and change feet. So peel the left foot off the floor. It's a lot to think about, isn't it? How are you all doing? You okay? Is it making sense? Yeah? Good, good, good. I hope it's making sense at home as well. Okay, so just remember, the more you do this, the more it will start to sink in. Okay, now take your foot back behind you, extend. Remember, you can keep your foot on the floor. You can pick it up off the floor if you want to challenge yourself, or keep it on the floor. Be conscious if you are picking your foot off the floor. I'm going to do it wrong for a second. I'm not tilting your hips. You're trying to keep your hips square to the front. So I always say, imagine you've got headlamps and they're shining forwards and you're keeping them going straight forwards, yeah? Now take the opposite arm up, take a breath, inhale, exhale. As you exhale, draw the shoulder blades down, bring that apple under the chin. It's another way of saying bringing that chin back in, yeah? Think of the egg and the spoon. Squeeze up through your left buttock as you extend your leg back behind you. Draw up through the core of your right foot this time. Stop a fart, stop a wee, pull your belly in. Feel your belly coming in with your left hand. Now, I want everyone to move forwards on their mat, so just come forwards a little bit, so you've got space behind you. And we're going to do that again, but we're going to take it into another exercise. So peel your right foot off the floor, hold, lift up through the core of the foot, lift up through your pelvic floor, take your right foot off the floor and rotate your ankle around a couple of times each way. And then take the leg back behind, so extend and lengthen again, work the shoulders down, lift up through your pelvic floor. If you're struggling at all, you don't have to take that hand up. You can put both hands underneath your bump if you prefer. Remember, you can keep that foot on the floor. But now I want you to step back so that your heel is going into the floor. And you're basically putting yourself into a calf stretch position. You can take your hands down now. You can put your hands back underneath your bump because your lower back might feel a little bit vulnerable in this position. So what I want you to do is start to align your body so that we release any tension that could come into the lower back. We're going to start by just moving the right foot up and down. So just move your right foot up and down. So you're going to lift up and lower back down. So this is going to help to release tension in your right calf. Anybody's calf muscles. So these are the calf muscles here. Anybody's calf muscles feel tight? Always, always. So there's a definite yes there. How about you, Aditi? Is it feeling tight?
No, it's more my thigh.
Your thigh, okay. So there's definitely some tension in the leg. So we need to release this tension. Now what's really interesting is we've got mirrors here so we can see what's happening to our bodies when we're doing this movement. At home, and I've said this before, it's really worth having your phone or if you've got an iPad or something where you can actually have a picture of yourself, so have the camera on, just so you can see what your alignment is like in there. Or you could have a mirror as well. You can just use a long mirror just to one side of your screen that you're watching, and have a look at your heel. You want to make sure that it's not doing this. So I'm doing it wrong at the moment, turning the heel in. Think of your feet fixed in tram lines and try to turn your heel out as you're doing this. Now that's going to throw your balance. Yeah, exactly. And the reason it's going to throw your balance is because what you're doing is your body is reliant on muscles to help you balance that actually when you turn your heel out they can't work anymore, right? But the reason they're working is because perhaps your core muscles aren't doing the job they're meant to be doing. So all the while we allow those heels to turn in, we're not going to allow our core muscles to actually do the job that they should be doing, okay? So you want to take your heel out so that the hips are aligned, and then you can focus on those deep core muscles that we need to strengthen. Why do we need to strengthen them? Because they're the ones that are going to be most affected through your pregnancy and are going to be weakened mostly through your pregnancy. So we need to give them a chance to work. If your heel's turning in, all the muscles, the deep muscles in your hip are switched on and stopping those core muscles from doing their job. So turn your heel out. You'll feel wobbly, but now concentrate on your core. So put your hands underneath your bump, and we're just going to hold the leg down now. And you can squeeze your buttock on the right leg. Now lift up through the back of the pelvic floor and into your belly. You can draw up through the core of your left foot. So draw up that arch in your left foot, work the shoulders down and bring your chin in. So you've got that egg in the spoon feeling with your chin. Okay, now take a breath for me. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze your right buttock, and then lift up from the back of the pelvic floor into your belly. And do you feel how that drops your tailbone when you do that? It's just a natural muscle contraction, helps to put your tailbone into the right position. Now see if you can take your hands out. This is going to make it a bit more complicated, but see if you can maintain a squeeze in your right buttock and a lift in your core as you do what we call a bow and arrow. So take a breath for me. Inhale. Exhale, lift up through your pelvic floor, stop a fart, stop a wee, and just take your hand back behind you. Okay, inhale, bring the hand back. And then exhale, take the left hand back behind you, look behind you. And then inhale, bring the hand back. And then do it one more time each way. Exhale, take the right arm back behind you. Now, as you're doing this, you're trying, inhale, bring it back, to keep your hips square to the front. If we can have a side view on that, please. And then inhale, bring the hand back. Okay, so now just relax and go back into the rocking the baby. You okay? That hurt? You're all right. Yeah. Just felt something. Not used to it. Okay, yeah, good stuff. And see, this is the thing. Sometimes you do something and you feel a little twinge or something doesn't feel quite right. It's really important to listen to that. And it might be that you just need to realign yourself. So if you feel anything like that happens to you, Just change your positioning, watch how we're doing it, see if you need to change your positioning. It might be that you need to connect to your core muscles more strongly, try to feel them more, and just readjust. However, if a pain continues, you need to stop what you're doing and properly reassess what you're doing. It might be that you need to go and see someone about that pain. So in your next visit to your midwife or your health visitor or your doctor, you need to just say, look, I had this pain when I was doing this. Can you explain to me what that might be? Can you check it out? Or also remember that we have our forum and our community. So it's really good to kind of connect with us and tell us what's going on so we can all speak about it. Because the chances are, if you've got some pain somewhere, someone else is going to have that same pain. So it's good to talk, yeah? Okay, so now let's take the left foot back. So take your left foot back behind you. And again, make sure that that heel isn't turning in. So when your heel starts to turn in, you know your hips are going to rotate and your core muscles aren't going to be as effective. So we're going to lift and lower with that heel back behind us. And it will probably feel different on this side because often we have more tightness on one side than the other, so the heel might not be turning in quite so much. On your left side, it might be more. Okay, so just let's move up and down because we want to warm those calf muscles up. So if your calves are feeling tight, we need to release them. So we're warming and making them a bit more pliable. And then you're going to hold that heel down and then engage your core again. So we're going to start with the core of the foot. So take a breath, inhale, exhale. Draw up through the core of the foot, particularly through your right foot. That's easy to do. You can do it on the left foot as well. Don't worry if you can't get that, but you can now squeeze your left buttock, and then you can do that stop a fart, stop a wee feeling, drawing in through your center. Work the shoulders down, bring your chin in, take the arms up, take a nice big deep breath for me. Inhale. As you exhale, re-engage through your pelvic floor. Lift up through the back of the pelvic floor and into the front, and then take your arm back behind you. Inhale, bring the arm back. And then exhale, take the right arm back behind you. And then inhale, bring it back. And then do it again, same each side. Keep working the shoulder blades down the back of your rib cage. And then last one, inhale, exhale, take the right arm back behind you. And then release it and come back. Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to just release and shake the legs out a little bit. And we're going to do a few stretches now. We're going to go to the bar. And I would urge you to find somewhere where you can support yourself when you're doing these stretches. So you might have a chair, there might be a counter, something that you can hold on to that doesn't move. So if we can go into the side camera, and we're going to go to the back of the room. And the girls are going to do 3 stretches. We're not going to use the bands just yet. We've already done a calf stretch, but we're just going to practice doing a calf stretch as well. So just go into a calf stretch position. While the girls are doing that, we can come back to the front camera. So 3 really important stretches you need to do. A calf stretch, which we've already done a bit of that already, but the calves get really, really tight. They're a very tense muscle in the body. The next stretch that I'm going to ask the girls to do, so if you change legs now and do your other calf, and while they're changing, I'm going to demonstrate to you the next stretch, and that is a front thigh stretch, a quad stretch. To do a front thigh stretch, make sure you're holding onto something. You're going to take a hold of your ankle, push your knees together and push your knee, down towards the floor, and push your hip forward and re-engage your core muscles again. So you take a breath, you inhale, exhale, you lift up through your core, pushing your kneecap towards the floor. So have a go at that now, so the girls can do that as well. So you're going to take a hold of your right foot. Let's go back to the side camera, please. And so you're going to take a hold of your right foot, and then just bring your knees together, and then stretch into the front of your thigh. And when you're doing this, it's really important that you really engage your core. Yep. So you take a breath, inhale, exhale, lift up through the back of the pelvic floor and into your belly, and you're trying to push your kneecap down towards the floor as you do this. That's good. Okay. And then change legs. So other side. So push your kneecap down, but engage your core. So lift up from the back of the pelvic floor and into the front. Perfect. Okay, and then we'll stay on the side camera for the last stretch. So this one, it's good to see it in a side profile. You're going to cross your right foot over the front of your left thigh, and then just stick your bottom back behind you, pushing your knee out to the side. And this is a stretch for those muscles that I was saying tend to kick in when your core muscles aren't doing their job, and they tend to get really tight. So these are deep muscles. If we can go back to the front camera now. So these are deep muscles that are in your hip, and they tend to switch on a lot in pregnancy to help you with various different issues, but they tend to overwork and they can cause pain. And that's why this stretch is a really important one. And what I want you to do when you're doing this is think about sticking your tailbone out a little bit and bending your left knee a little bit more, and also pushing. If you take your right hand onto your right knee, pushing your right knee out a little bit as you're doing it. Does that make sense? So you're feeling that stretch going deep into your hip. Ooh, everyone's feeling it in the studio. And then release and change. So you felt that one, girls, yeah? Okay. Are you feeling that at home? So this is why this is important, because these muscles get really, really tight. So you're going to change and do it on the other side. So you're crossing your left foot in front of your right thigh, and then use your support, and then bend. And just think about your posture when you're doing this. Draw the shoulders down. Think of that egg in the spoon. Push your left knee out to the side and bend your right knee a little bit more and stick your tailbone out. And then you'll get a stretch into your hip. Now, these 3 stretches are my kind of go-to 3 stretches in pregnancy that you need to do. They're really important. Calf stretch, front thigh stretch, hip stretch. Do them anytime, anywhere. You can hold onto the kitchen sink and do them. You can, when you're at work, you can hold onto a desk or some kind of prop and just do those stretches. They're really practical. You can come back to the front now, girls. They're really practical stretches to do because you can do them standing. So you can do them anytime, anywhere. Yeah, so make sure you come back to them whenever you can. So we're going to do one more thing, which is a practice lunge. We've done these in previous classes, and there is a masterclass for it as well, but we're just going to do it now because this is the first time Aditi's done the class, so she needs a little bit of practice, and it's good for everybody, including me, to practice these. So come forward on your mats, and we're going to take the right foot back behind us. So take a nice big deep breath, inhale. Exhale, and we're going to take the right foot back behind us. So use the principle of your balance. Come forward with the foot, but then take it back behind, and now go onto the ball of your right foot. On the ball of the right foot, you want to feel the inside the ball of your foot. You don't want your heel to turn in or out too much, and you want to make sure that your front knee isn't dropping in. So just take that knee out a little bit. Now bring your weight back into the ball of your right foot. Open through your chest and bring that chin in. And if you take your thumbs out and your little finger in, it will help you with your shoulder alignment and that sliding the shoulder blades down the back of the rib cage. That action, by the way, is really important. It has a significance in giving birth, which we will talk about a bit later. But for now, I just want you to know, bring those shoulders down and bring that chin in. Now, come up tall for me. Come up. And if we can have a side view on this, please. Really tall. Squeeze your right buttock. Feel that buttock working again. I really want you to engage your buttocks as much as you can. They're the most powerful muscle in your body. It's the biggest muscle in your body, musculoskeletal muscle that is, and you want to use it as much as you can. Okay, so lift up tall and engage your core. Stop a fart, stop a wee, lift into your belly. You should feel like you're working in this position. Yeah. Now take another breath. Inhale, exhale. Bend both knees and imagine you're sliding your back down a wall. You don't have to go very far. You can just go a little way down. That's enough. Don't have to go any further. Now lift back up. Lift your pelvic floor up as you go back up. Now, if you can't find your pelvic floor when you lift back up, just make sure you connect to it at the top because that's where it's easy to feel it. So feel it now. Inhale, exhale, lift up from the back of the pelvic floor and into your belly, slide down, and then lift back up. And then do that one more time. Take a breath. Inhale, exhale, lift up from the back of your pelvic floor into your belly, lower down, and lift back up and shake your legs out. Okay, how did that feel? Yeah? Everybody okay? Now, you may find that your thighs hurt and your legs hurt when you do that, or your knees hurt a little bit, okay? Trust me on this one. If you stick with what we're doing, that will start to lessen. It will be to do with a lot of tightness in your legs. And remember, you don't have to go very far. So let's do that on the left side now. So peel the left foot off the floor, hold and balance, take the leg back behind you. The other thing you can do if you're struggling with this is use your support. We're not using the bar at the moment, but you could use your support if you needed to. Now come up, squeeze into your buttocks, open through the chest. Obviously, all the while you're not using the support, you've got to balance, you've got to use your core. So lift up through your pelvic floor and into your belly, and then lower down, and then lift back up. I forgot to tell you all to breathe then, so we'll do it this time. So take a breath, inhale, exhale, lift up through your pelvic floor into your belly, slide your back down the wall, and then lift back up, squeeze into your bum. Get that height. That height's really important. We'll do it one more time. Take a breath. Inhale, exhale, lift up through from the back to the front, slide your back down the wall, and then lift back up. And then just shake your legs out. So we are now going to start using the bands as we have done in previous classes. We introduced a new side-to-side move last week. So we're going to do that movement again today. We're going to go through 3 movements using the bands. If you don't have any bands, don't worry about it. You can do this without. If you have got a band, you just got to find somewhere to attach your band to. We're using the bar. So we're all going to go over to the bar now. So we're moving to the side camera as we do this. And we're going to take a hold of both of our bands. So you want your bands threaded through, and then we're going to step back onto our mats and go into a lunge position. Now I'm going to hold my bands really short so that you can see me, girls, in front of you. So I'm going to hold them here, but you can use the whole length of your band and put both handles into your right hand. That's it. And then we're going to step back into a lunge position. So exactly the same as you've just practiced. Step your right leg back behind you. Come up nice and tall and squeeze into your buttocks. Keep your hips nice and square to the front. Work the shoulders down. You're going to take a breath. Inhale. Exhale. Lift up through the pelvic floor and then lower down, pulling the band back behind you. And then lift back up and squeeze your buttock. Take another breath. Inhale. Exhale. Lower down. As you exhale, lifting up through your pelvic floor, lowering down, exhaling all the way down and back up. And then do that again. Inhale, exhale, and lower down, and lift back up. So your weight is back. Keep going for me. Do that again. Your weight is back as you're doing this, lowering down and lifting back up. Now I'm just watching the girls doing this now, and it looks wonderful. They're doing it really, really well. Important points. You keep the back vertical as you're lowering down, so that your front knee doesn't go forward over your toes. Now, this is not really a functional movement because it's not movement in the exact way that you would do every day. But what it does do is it replicates a lot of movements that you do every day. It replicates walking, running, and it's also going to optimize the strength in your legs and your glutes and your core, so that when you do functional lifting and lowering, whether that's to pick up a child, to pick up some shopping, to move around where you have to move in sudden different ways, where you need to squat and lunge, it's going to strengthen you to be able to do those movements. And that's why this is important. Using the bands is really useful. It helps us to kind of strengthen the body as a whole using the upper body. It also helps us to connect a bit more to the core as well. So if you haven't got any bands at home, it's worth trying to get hold of some. They're really cheap and easy to get a hold of. And then do one more for me. And then release and change legs. How's everyone doing? Okay, so we're going to go to the other side now and do it on the other side. So put both handles into your left hand. And again, doing exactly the same thing. I'm going to take your left foot back behind you, come up nice and tall and squeeze into your left buttock. Make sure that your hips are nicely aligned. And you can feel that if your heel is turning in, I mean, you can look down at it. If it's turning in, try to turn it back out. Keep everything nice and square. Come up nice and tall, squeeze into your buttocks. Take a nice big deep breath. Inhale. Exhale. Lower down, pull the band back. You're sliding your back down the wall. And then lift back up. And then do that for me again. Lower down and then lift back up. Perfect. Really nice. And then do that for me again. Inhale, exhale, lift up for your pelvic floor, lower down and lift back up. This is really good. Really, really good. And again, take a breath, inhale, and then lower down. Engage your core muscles on each movement. It means it slows you down, but that's what you guys need to do right now. You need to work at a slower pace and be really conscious of engaging those core muscles. What this also means is you are doing multiple pelvic floor contractions all the way through this class, which you wouldn't be doing or consciously doing if you were doing a non-pregnancy class, or very unlikely to be doing it. And that's our emphasis, is to make sure that you really are bringing your core muscles with you in everything you do. That's what makes this different to other classes. So I'm going to ask the girls to do 2 more of these, and then we'll move on to our next move. You can stop whenever you want to. Listen to your body. If it feels too much, stop. And I'd urge the girls to do that as well. If they felt they couldn't carry on, it's really important. You don't wait for me to tell you to stop. You stop when you feel you need to. Okay, how you're doing? All right, now we're going to introduce a new move. We can come back to the front camera now. So I want you to both of your bands, and I'm going to come forwards, and we're going to turn into a sideways position. So onto your mat. Make sure you're standing onto your mat, guys. That's it. And we're going to turn into a sideways position. Now, this is a really functional movement because it's teaching us to use lateral movement patterns, which we use every single day. And you need to make sure that the band is slightly in front of your body. I'm actually going to, you're going to lose me for a second because I'm going to just move my band a bit further forward. Now, what we're going to do, so no one in the room other than me has done this move before because we introduced this last week. So if this is the first time, maybe you missed last week's class, this might be the first time you've done it as well. The most important thing here is that you're engaging your core muscles. So hold on to both handles with your hands, like that, that's it. And then draw up through your pelvic floor and into your belly. And all I want you to do is just start moving side to side. And it doesn't matter if we move at different times. And if we can have a side view right now, you can see how we're moving. We're moving side to side. Yep, so just moving side to side. And as you move side to side, you're transferring your weight from your left foot to your right foot, to your left foot to your right foot. Now, as you move away from your attachment site with the bands, if you haven't got bands, you can do this without, that's fine. As you move away from your attachment site of your bands, you should feel a pulling in your core. Yeah? Particularly between your ribs and your hips on the right side. Do you feel that? A little bit? Okay, if you pull your band with it, you might feel it a bit more. So pull the band with your hands. Yeah, if you pull the band, do you feel that? Yeah? Okay, so this is why it's really important. They're feeling it now. This is why it's really important to use your core muscles as you do this. Because when you're moving with resistance, which you might be if you're holding something, you've got to engage your core. So slow your movement down. And now lift up through your core and then pull the band and move to the side. So lift up through your core. Do you feel that? Yeah? So it might take a while to see what it is that we're doing. I'm just trying to get you used to using a lateral movement and using your core muscles. Now at the moment, we're just gently moving the arms. Yeah? But the whole point of this is that there's no one way to move the arms. I want you to move your arms as you feel fit. So you can separate your hands if you want to. Yeah, and separate them. So one hand has got one band, the other hand's got the other band. Yeah. Or you can keep the hands together. And you can start to shift a little bit more. And just feel free to move however you want to move. I'm going to watch everyone move differently now. And because what I want is I want it to feel like it's a natural movement pattern for you. So you take on ownership of this movement. And actually, it should feel quite nice. Yeah? It's like a rocking action. Yeah? But what's so brilliant about this movement is it can also be quite intense if you want it to be. Because you can start to really move your arms if you want to. Yeah? Now, you don't have to do that, but that's where we can go with this movement. And it actually becomes quite cardiovascular. But for the moment, I just want you to feel it, sense it, drawing through your core muscles as you're doing it. How are we doing? Yeah? Good? Okay. Anyone notice their heart rate going up a bit? Yeah. Yes. Okay. So it's quite a continuous movement. All right. You can rest now. Now I'm going to ask the girls to just hold on to one of their bands. So we've got less resistance. And we're going to go into another lunge position. So taking the right leg back behind us, left leg in front. And we've now got the band into our right hand. So we should be back on the front camera now. If we're not, probably are. But we want the band into our right hand. And we're going to do exactly the same thing. The issue with when you're pushing rather than pulling with the band behind you is that the temptation is to throw your body weight forward. Remember, we want that vertical line with the torso, because that's going to help you to really engage your core muscles. Again, practically, if you were doing practical lifting and lowering, you might not always have that vertical line. You can try and maintain it. But for now, when you're doing this class, I want you to maintain it so that you're really optimizing those core muscles and making them stronger, so that when you do have to lunge or lower or lift quickly, practically, you've already built the strength to be able to do it safely. Yeah? Okay, so come up nice and tall. And squeeze into that buttock, just as we've done before. So the difference is you lower down, but this time you push the hand forward, and the arm comes forward, the shoulder comes forward, the left shoulder comes back a little bit, but your pelvis does not push forward, and then you lift back up. Breathe in, exhale, lift up through your pelvic floor, lower down, and lift back up. So if we can have a side view on this, please. Inhale. Exhale, lower down. You've got to make sure that as you're lowering down, come back up. Inhale and exhale, lower down. Make sure that your front knee doesn't go over your toes. And then come back up. Engage your pelvic floor. And then lower down. And then lift back up. We're going to do 2 more of these. Inhale, exhale, lower down. And lift back up. And then 1 more. Lower down. Keep your back up nice and tall. And then lift back up and change sides. Everybody okay on that one? Yeah? So we're going to take it to the other side. And do it on the other side this time. So left foot back behind. Now check your knees aren't turning in. You want to push that right knee out a little bit. Try to make sure that your heel isn't turning in either. So your hips are nice and square to the front. Your arms back behind you. Come up nice and tall. Engage your left buttock. Lift in through your center. And then lower down. And then lift back up and squeeze. And then again, lower down. And then lift back up and squeeze. And again, lower down. Lift back up and squeeze. Inhale, exhale, lower down. And then lift back up. And let's do 2 more. Inhale, exhale, lower down. And lift back up. And then 1 more. Exhale, lower down. And then lift back up. Well done. Okay, you're going to grab both bands now. And we're going to do that side-to-side movement on the other side. So if we can switch to the side camera now, so we can see you over here. And we're going to do that side-to-side movement again. So you're just moving side to side. So if you're at home and you've got bands and you're attaching them to a site, your bands are on your left side, so make sure you switch sides, and you're just moving side to side and just getting a feel for that resistance as you pull away from your attachment site of your bands. So you're pulling away, and as you're pulling away, you're trying to engage your core. Now, this is a good thing to ask everybody. Who can actually feel their pelvic floor when you're doing this movement? Be honest with me.
I was actually feeling all very relaxed and loose until I consciously tried
To pull it up.
It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy. So Aditi's just nailed it on the head there. It's not easy to find your pelvic floor. She was saying that it feels really loose, but when she thought about it, she could feel it. Now that's really important because your legs are wide. Yeah, they're in a wide position. Your pelvic floor is a little bit on length. To contract it, it's not necessarily stretching, but it's pretty open. So to contract it is much harder. But if you become conscious of it and think of stop a fart, stop a wee, you can feel it. Yeah? So let's focus on that now. So each time you pull, so you can start to move your arms like we did in the last one. You can separate your hands if you want to, move them however you want to. But before you pull, engage your pelvic floor. And don't worry about taking a breath each time. I just want you to engage your pelvic floor. Your breath, because it becomes cardio, your breath is going to get quicker. Yeah? But just think about your pelvic floor for me. Engage it. You don't have to take a breath every time you engage your pelvic floor. As long as you are breathing, you'll know you're breathing because you'll feel your breathing going up. Yeah? But can you just engage your pelvic floor for me? So try this again at home. So lift up through your pelvic floor and then pull your arms across you. Lift up through your pelvic floor.
You have to definitely concentrate.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So Kirsten was just saying you have to concentrate, and it's true, you do. And that's the whole point of these classes. But if you concentrate in these classes, think about it, are conscious of it, it's going to help you so much in other actions that you do outside the classroom because you're going to be that much more focused and engaged, and your pelvic floor is just going to get stronger and stronger. Your core muscles are going to get stronger, and it will enable you to cope with all sorts of things. So this is a good thing that you're doing right now. Okay, just maybe do 1 more. Set, and then release it. Well done. Okay, so we're going to forget the bands for now and come down to the floor. And we're going to finish off with some stretches on the floor, and we're going to do 1 more exercise. So we've got our blocks here in the studio to put underneath our knees. You might need some cushions or some towels to put underneath your knees. So we're just going to come down onto one knee. And we're going to do a stretch for the front thigh and for the hip flexors. So I'm just going to ask the girls to put their hands onto the right thigh and pull the skin up over that thigh. And by pulling the skin up, you feel a pull. It's almost like you're lifting the skin up over your leg and up and over your hip. Now engage your core muscles. Inhale. Exhale. Stop a fart, stop a wee. Pull your belly in and come forwards. And you should get a nice stretch on the front of your hip. Everyone feel that? Yeah. Now, if you feel any discomfort, your knees might hurt, yeah? Remember those stretches we did up against the bar earlier? You can revert to those and do those instead. So you hold onto the bar, you do a quad stretch, a calf stretch, and a hip stretch. So you don't have to do these ones on the floor, particularly if you find it hard to get down to the floor, or if you just feel your knees just don't like this position. That's absolutely fine. You can go to well, you haven't got a bar at home, but you might have, but you can go to a chair, whatever you've got that you can hold on to, and do those standing stretches. I'll show those to you again one more time in a second. So we're going to change legs now and stretch the other side. And again, we're going to pull the skin up over the hip, engage the core muscles. So stop a fart, stop a wee, lift into your belly, and then come forwards and just get that feeling of length in the front of your thigh. And hold that there. And then we're going to do an exercise, and it's actually a typical Pilates exercise. It's called a dumbwaiter. And I do it in a way that's a little bit different. It's specifically for pregnancy, but it's a way for you to really connect to your pelvic floor very strongly, and it's a really good way to boost your pelvic floor strength. Now, again, I'm going to say to you again, you must have watched that pelvic floor video. Please make sure that you have done. There's a masterclass all about the pelvic floor, but this is a little exercise that you can add into your repertoire. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to put a block between our knees. Okay. And hold the hands out in front as if carrying a tray in front of you. Now, what's really important when you do this is that you don't allow daylight to come between the sides of your ribs and the sides of your arms. So you're keeping your elbows tucked in. Now, we've got a block. You can put a cushion, towel, anything between your knees. That's absolutely fine. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of set ourselves up before we really focus on the pelvic floor. So this is a postural exercise as well as a pelvic floor exercise. So the first thing you're going to do is breathe, because we always start with the breath. So inhale. As you exhale, part the hands, keeping your elbows tucked into your ribs, and feel your shoulder blades come in together. And then as you feel the shoulder blades coming together, just subtly slide them down the back of your rib cage. At the same time, you bring your chin in, thinking of that egg in the spoon. You're then, though, going to, in one breath, we will on the next one. I'm taking too long to explain it to do it in one breath, so keep breathing now. I want you to squeeze your buttocks. Yeah? So squeeze your buttocks for me right now. Clench your buttocks. And when you do that, what you'll feel is your knees coming away from your block or your cushion or whatever you've got between your knees. So now, walk your knees back in. All right? So what this is doing is creating lots of control through the inner thigh and through the buttocks. So your pelvis now is really nice and stable, okay? But feel what happens when you now connect your pelvic floor. So take a breath, inhale, exhale, relax, stop a fart, stop a wee, and lift up and up and up and up and up with your pelvic floor, and then let everything go. How intense was that? It's quite intense, isn't it? Did you find yourself holding your breath? Maybe a little bit. Okay, so let's try it again. We'll do it a bit more quickly. We're going to do it in 2 breaths, and on the second breath, focus on trying to get your pelvic floor up. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I want you to recognize which number of ups you get to with the pelvic floor. So relax. Take a big breath for me. Inhale. Exhale. Part the hands. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Slide them down. Bring your chin in. Squeeze your buttocks. Move your knees in on your block. Take another breath. Inhale. Exhale. Stop a fart. Stop a wee. Lift up. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then let it relax. Remember, all you've got to do is remember to keep breathing and remember which floor you can get up to, yeah? Because I can feel everyone's holding their breath at the end of that. So if you find you're holding your breath, just stop. You don't have to carry with me up to 5, yeah? So you can stop at about 1 if you want to, yeah? Don't hold your breath. Okay, so let's do it one more time so we get it right. So inhale. Exhale, part the hands, squeeze the shoulder blades together, tuck your tail, and walk your knees in on your block. Take another breath. Inhale, exhale, and come up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was better. Okay, Aditi, how many floors can you get to? 3 to 4, yeah. 3 to 4, brilliant. About the same. 3.5. Fiona? Oh, Fiona's getting up to 5, yes. Okay, So here's the thing. You want to be able to do that exercise all the way through your pregnancy, apart from in the last month, because then it gets harder to get up to 5. But you want to get up to 5. But not only do you want to be able to get up to 5, you want to be able to hold up at 5. Okay? So that is our aim. So we are going to get stronger and stronger and stronger through this pregnancy. Yes? Okay, so now we're just going to finish off on puppy dog, which is a stretch we've done before. Love this stretch. So you're going to take your knees wide and then just allow the body to sink back. And if we can go to a side camera and just allow your body to sink back, have your bottom up in the air. And this is really important because you want to open the pelvic floor and let it relax. So breathe. And just sink down and relax. And I'm going to ask the girls to stay there and carry on with that stretch. And you can carry on with it as well. So just allowing the pelvic floor to open. But I did promise to show you the alternative. If you couldn't get onto your knees and you found this too difficult to do this stretch, let me just show you the one up against the wall. So I think we're on a side camera now. So remember, you hold on to your support and then you just push your kneecap down and push your hip forward to stretch out the front of your thigh. So that was the stretch that you can do if you found it too difficult to come down onto your knees. Okay, so if we can come back to the front camera again now. So you might be just want to stay into your puppy dog now, but remember you can go back and do that stretch at the end if you want to. Continue to take some nice breaths. Remember, breath is the start and the end of everything. So if you're struggling to find time to do stuff, if you're feeling really nauseous, if you're just lacking energy, remember that you don't have to do exercise. We want you to do it. We know that you're going to get so many benefits when you can, but there will be days when you're just not going to manage it. It doesn't matter. What does matter though is that you relax, you chill out, and you breathe. And if you've got time to do this, then you're going to have done yourself a lot of good just by holding this puppy dog stretch and just releasing and relaxing. We will see you again next week. Well done.